Hello and welcome to this video on writing an essay introduction. I know, you're trying to write an introduction to your essay. I can see how daunting that task is to you because you seem to be struggling a bit with it. No worries though, I got you covered. But first, let me explain to you why you need to write an introduction. First and foremost, you need to build a bridge to allow your audience to cross the gap that you want to close with your essay. That bridge is the introduction. Therefore, by providing an introduction that helps your readers make a transition between their own world and the issues you will be writing about, you give your readers the tools they need to get into your topic and care about what you're saying. Just remember that your introduction can make or break your essay. This opening section of your essay will either prompt your audience to keep reading or to just forget about it. Bear this in mind. A vague, disorganized, error-filled, off-the-wall, or boring introduction will probably create a negative impression. On the other hand, a concise, engaging, and well-written introduction will start your readers off thinking highly of you, your analytical skills, your writing, and your paper. Additionally, you must think of your introduction as a roadmap for your essay, sort of a guide in which you will tell your audience about the topic and why it is important for you and everyone else, how you intend to go about covering the topic that you have chosen or has been chosen for you. The thesis statement or the argument, depending on which type of essay you will be writing, and background information which you will use to expand upon your topic. In a few words, no surprises at all, none are needed. Your audience should know right away, right there in the introduction, what they will be reading about and thus not be caught off balance. So, what goes in an introduction? A hook or grabber, background information on the selected topic, and the thesis statement or an argument. Remember that the thesis statement or argument will always depend on the type of essay you are writing. It's now time to talk about the first sentence in your introduction, commonly known as a hook or grabber. This is important because your first sentence sets the tone for the whole essay. McCombs makes a couple of suggestions. Avoid long, dense sentences. Begin with something simple, succinct, and intriguing that will pique your reader's interest. The hook should lead the reader into your essay. Therefore, you must describe the issue you're writing about and why it's interesting. Avoid making sweeping claims or making straightforward declarations of facts. To create a hook, experts recommend starting with an interesting fact or idea or a puzzling or intriguing example from the sources. Sharing an anecdote or a compelling story if you were able to find one in your sources. Opening with a thought-provoking rhetorical question. A question you ask for drama or impact or to make a point, not a question for which you expect to get a genuine answer. Let's refer back to our sources for some examples of bad or weak hooks and ways to improve them. Let's take a look at this sentence. Braille was an extremely important invention. This sentence is just a flat, dull statement that does not say much. In fact, it says nothing along the lines of catching the audience's attention. Here is the improved hook. The invention of Braille was a major turning point in the history of disability. This sentence, on the other hand, makes an interesting statement that leads you to think more information will be forthcoming about Braille and its impact on the lives of blind people. It says, stay tuned, and you do stay tuned. Second example, the internet is defined as a global computer network providing a variety of information and communication facilities. This looks like a definition taken from a dictionary. Please try to avoid that at all times. Whenever possible, and it is always possible, make an improved version, such as this one. The spread of the internet has had a world-changing effect, especially in the field of education. This sentence still has a broad meaning to it, but it seems clear that the author intends to go deeper into this statement and what it means. Here's yet another example. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a famous book from the 19th century. Most people already know that. Well, most people know at least that it is a famous book. Nothing novel and interesting and attention-grabbing in there. They might not know, however, that it's a book from the 19th century, but even so, this can be improved. Let's take a look. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is often regarded as a crude cautionary tale about the dangers of unsupervised scientific advancements. Now, this second take does not say the obvious. Instead, it lets the audience know of a new interpretation of the book. The second element of the introduction has to do with providing background information on the topic. This will allow the audience to understand the context surrounding the topic and to submerge themselves into it quite smoothly. You can achieve this in one or a couple or more sentences. Background information can be of several types: historical, geographical, or social context, an outline of the debate you're addressing, a summary of relevant theories or research about the topic, and definition of key terms. What's critical here is not to go deep into any discussion. That is precisely what you should do in the next body paragraphs, but never in the introduction. Here's an example of background information provided in an introduction. It's highlighted in yellow. Few state standards specify what exactly a student at each grade level should be able to spell, and most subsume spelling under broad topics such as written composition and language proficiency. State writing tests may not even score children on spelling accuracy, as they prefer to lump it in with other mechanical skills in the scoring rubrics. Allow me to present to you the third and last element of an introduction, the thesis statement if you are writing an expository or informative essay, or the argument if you are writing an argumentative essay. Consider the following introduction for an informative or expository essay. Notice the hook in yellow. A walk through the children's section of a bookstore will show you children's books have changed. There is a new richness everywhere in literature for children. Background information is in cyan, with choices in all of the genres: how-to books, cookbooks, poetry, fiction, and non-fiction. These works now represent more cultural perspectives and more reading levels than ever before. Thanks to authors and publishers who are committed to creating children's books about volcanoes and vultures, penguins and pilgrims, shipwrecks and sharks, we have abundant evidence now that information for children can be presented with intellectual honesty, creativity, and flair. And the thesis statement is in green. The fastest growing new area in children's publishing is the information book. Let us examine the following introduction for an argumentative essay. Here's the hook in yellow. Much of our learning takes place outside the classroom. The background in cyan. We learn how to maintain budgets, forge friendships, develop business relationships, and more. And the argument is in green. In this example, the central argument is actually underlined and in gray, but the author decided to provide some reasoning early on to be able to introduce their position in favor of students spending time abroad during their undergraduate education. Let's read. Imagine extending those skills on a global level. We would immediately cease to believe the world only contains the people and things we can see, but rather a wide variety of opinions, customs, beliefs, and ethics. And here's the main argument. This is why every college-level student must study abroad during their undergraduate years. They will learn more in that semester abroad than in any other academic year. Essay introductions can be weak when and if you make the following mistakes. Use vague language or irrelevant details, basically creating what some experts call a placeholder. In other words, this is done just to fill in the empty space by saying nothing. Provide too little information, thus sending the message that there will not be anything else interesting to read about in the following paragraphs and/or pages. And include a dictionary definition of a term or terms when, in fact, such a definition or definitions may come from inside the sources or from your own brain. That will be much more helpful to your audience. So, how do you know if your introduction will be alright? Use the following checklist. My first sentence is engaging and relevant. I have introduced the topic with necessary background information. I have defined any important terms. My thesis statement or argument clearly expresses my main points. Everything in my introduction is relevant to the main body of the essay. Here's a cautionary note though, this is just a checklist, not necessarily the order in which elements should appear in the introduction. And on this note, I will wrap up this video on how to write an essay introduction. Thanks for watching.